Good evening, all, fellow Rotarians, our special guests. This evening, Angelo Caruso. A very warm welcome to our first day of PETS 2022. Permit me to recognize our District Governor-elect, Leslie Ramdani, distinguished PDGs on the call. Thank you all for joining us. Our guest speaker, Angelo Caruso, who will be formally introduced later on. AGs, I must say thank you for agreeing to serve as AGs. Our district governor is depending on you to provide that guidance and support to the incoming boards. To all of our incoming leaders, let this evening be the start of a wonderful journey, a journey you will forever remember. Participate, meet new friends, and ultimately be inspired to be the best version of yourself. I'm Liz Cox, and I will be your moderator for this evening, and I'm supported by Sean and three other PPs, past presidents Lisa, Leah, Abraham, and Viaz, along with our translators and interpreters Vicky, Mavis, and Natalie. We hope to guide you through a seamless evening. I would like to take a moment to formally introduce our incoming district governor, as well as our incoming district secretary, along with our district team. And I'm doing that using a slideshow, so just give me a minute. Let me just bring up the slideshow. It is my pleasure to introduce our district governor-elect, Leslie Ramdani. He has been a charter member of the Rotary Club of Grenada East and has been a Rotarian for 44 years. He has served in multiple positions on his board, in his club, including being a president as well. He served as well as an assistant governor and several roles in the district. As a profession, he is the chairman of a family-owned business, and his passion is for the outdoors, and he loves fishing, as you can see here. He has a boat, so make sure you book some time when you're in Grenada at the next conference to have a sail on his boat. Perhaps he'll take you out fishing. Our incoming district secretary is Alana Wilson, who is a member of the Rotary Club of Grenada, and she has been a Rotarian for 13 years. She has served in her club in several roles, including a president. She's also been a past assistant governor for Grenada. She had several roles in the district, including RILA leader and youth program director. She is a microbiologist in the brewing industry in Grenada. And our district training committee is made up of the following persons. We have Joël Foncellon from the Rotary Club of Remire-Montgelé, which is in French Guiana. And Joël has served his club for 8 years, including being a president as well. He has served in district roles. Joël is on our Childhood Obesity Prevention Committee as well. And you will remember that Remire-Montgelé was a club that developed the book, Eat Well, Move Well, that we're using throughout our district. He is a business owner and he owns a nursery school, and he has a passion for mathematics, science, and reading. So God bless those school children. Lisa Foster is a charter member and the charter secretary of the Rotary Club of Garden City, Georgetown. She has been a Rotarian for 14 years. As a Rotaractor, she moved through many roles in being a Rotaractor, including district roles and a president of the Rotaract Club of Georgetown. She's also past president of the Rotary Club of Georgetown. In her profession, she's a senior coordinator in project delivery and monitoring at Conservation International Guyana. She has a passion for nature, and if you follow Lisa on Facebook, you would see that she loves sunsets. From the Rotary Club of Chaguanas in Trinidad is Abraham Daniel, who served with me on 2 years on the district training committee. He served several roles in his club, including a president. He served as well as a assistant district governor. He's a past district governor. His current role is club trainer and youth service chair. He is a business owner and consultant, and the focus is on as a trainer in management systems with a focus on environment and energy. His passion is for developing people and organizations beyond their immediate status. Vyas Goku is a member of the Rotary Club of Paramaribo Central. In Suriname, he has been a Rotarian for 3 years. He is, in fact, the IPP of his club and served in several roles, including treasurer as well as secretary, before assuming the position of president. He is a business owner and is involved in printing and promotional items. He has a quote that says, "Do good in unexpected and undetected ways, together with friends with the same vibes." Sean is known, I'm sure, to a lot of you here. He is a member of the Rotary Club of Port of Spain, Trinidad. He has 12 years as an official Rotarian, 35 years as a non-official Rotarian. He served in several positions in his club, including public image, foundation, and admin. On the district level, he also served in public image. He's on the Child Obesity Prevention Committee. He's also been involved extensively in the district newsletter, preparation of the district newsletter. At the zone level, Sean is also served as assistant PI image coordinator, among many other roles at the zone level. In his profession, he's an international ocean law consultant, among many other areas that he's shared with me. His passion is to fix the world one person at a time. I guess today is my time. Leah Cragg Charlatan is a member of the Rotary Club of St. Kitts, and she has been a Rotarian for 11 years, served again in multiple positions in her club, as well as president, and her current position is the club trainer for her club. She's also an incoming assistant governor. She's a practicing lawyer, and her focus is on international trade policy. Her passion is to help others through Rotary, and she loves to travel. So she will be in Barbados as well as Grenada, perhaps Texas as well. Julian Diaz DePool is a member of the Rotary Club of Caruso, and he has been a Rotarian for 1 year, 6 months. So he's the baby of the group. He's the managing director of Rectio, a digital transformation company, and his passion is to create by empowering individuals.
Fellow Rotarians, good evening. And here we present Liz Cox, leader of the District Training Committee. Liz has been a charter member of the Rotary Club of Garden City, quite a new club, but she has been a Rotarian for 14 years. She has served as a past president, and she's currently club trainer and service projects director. She's also an incoming AG for Guyana. Liz is a business owner of Casper Investments Incorporated. She's a strategic advisor, trainer, in insurance and leadership. Her passion is to transfer knowledge to the next generation of leaders. And that is why Liz has been selected to be our district trainer, because of the wealth of knowledge that Liz possesses. So President-elects and Secretary-elects, I encourage you, you have a wealth of talent from your district training committee. Please communicate with them and they can give you all the advice you need. Thank you.
Thank you, DGE Leslie. And before we actually get into our programs tonight, I certainly would like to share some protocols, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. In the future, once you're joining the session, try to get into the waiting room at least 5 minutes before we start. I know quite a few of you were in there waiting. We apologize for the delay in our start this evening. We do have our translators, and please, you get a best experience if you select the English icon. Look at the bottom of your screen, which is to the right, and you will see a globe. Select either the English channel or the French channel. Once you're in the room, you will be muted. And if the presenter invites you to make a comment, you can enter it into the chat box, as well as you can raise your hand using the raise hand icons in the participants listing. So whoever is operating, Sean or whoever is operating at the back, can see you and unmute you. And this is really to help us because this session is being recorded and it will be placed on the district website and YouTube channel within 48 hours. We would strongly advise Rotarians to have their videos on. I know that we don't know each other and it's good to see each other's face. It's good to look at each other's eyes and to get to know each other a little bit more. I think that there is, I know there's going to be a Q&A session and that will be moderated by PP Leah. My timekeeper this evening is PP Lisa, as well as PP Abraham will be administering our poll questions. We will have some poll questions which would encourage you to participate. And we do have an evaluation as a poll at the end of the session. So please complete that before you exit, we'll put it on a couple of minutes before. So I see Michael is here finally. Michael, you made it, you made it here. So to introduce Michael this evening, I'd like to, well, before I introduce Michael, I certainly would like to have our district governor say a few words to formally open PETS 2022. So DGE, Leslie, see if I'm almost forgetting you already, right?
Thank you, Liz, and welcome to PETS 2022. I want to say a special welcome to our past district governors who are always here supporting us, our incoming AGs, our president-elects, secretary-elects, the district training committee, and including our district secretary, Alana. Our journey started last Thursday when we onboarded the AGs for training. This evening, we continue our training sessions with our president-elects and our secretary-elects. Training will be rolled out twice weekly, ending with a live session in Barbados on April 7th. And I do hope to see all of you there. It will be exciting. We will have an interesting program on Thursday afternoon. And of course, it culminates in a fantastic Lime on the beach where we all get together in person and introduce ourselves to each other. So remember that, folks, at the end of this virtual session will be live in Barbados on April 7th. So please make all effort possible to get there. Presidents and secretary-elects, our district training committee has put together training sessions aimed at motivating you and getting you to inspire the clubs under your command, to inspire our members to become more Rotarian than they are, to inspire Rotarians to get Rotary. And folks, this year is going to be a very interesting year for us. For indeed, history is being created, or is in the making. For the first time in the history of Rotary, our leader is a female. And I'm sure that all our female Rotarians will feel especially empowered by having such an illustrious person in the person of Jennifer Jones, who hails from Windsor, Canada, to lead us in this incoming Rotary year. Jennifer is, of course, no stranger to Rotary. She's been here in Rotary for a long time. I knew she was Rotary International Director one time during her career. And so she's also widely known because she is associated with the media. That's her vocation. So we certainly shall be empowered by having a female president this incoming Rotary year. And so, as she leads us in the coming year, we must remember our vision, where we see a world where people unite to take action, to create lasting change around the globe, in our community and in ourselves. Guided by that vision and based on our core values, we will continue to increase our impact, expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, and increase our ability to adapt. Those are the 4 pillars of our action plan, which we have begun a couple of years ago, which we continue to do, and which we're going to improve upon when we undertake our service projects. Our president-elect has selected what seems to be a very simple theme. Imagine Rotary. And I am sure that most of you will have seen the theme posted on the Rotary website. I just want to take a few minutes to go into the details of that theme because it has very deep meaning for us as Rotarians. You'll see a circle, and that circle is a connection we have to one another. There are dots around that circle, and those dots are the people. The 7 dots, if you count them, there are 7 dots, and they represent our 7 areas of focus, which we are all acquainted with. The circle plus the dot is our navigational star and our guiding light. That solid line beneath the circle and the stars is a very significant item. It's a digging tool. And that tool represents how we get things done. The colors you see, purple, green, and white, signify how we can each express ourselves differently. That's why we are focusing and celebrating diversity, equity, and inclusion. The colors also have significance. Purple represents polio, green the environment, and white peace. The colors are also recognized as the colors of the women's movement, and President-elect Jennifer is very much focused on that and very proud to be associated with that movement. The color purple represents happiness, warmness, empowerment, and newness. And so indeed, our theme this year is a theme with a lot of deep meaning, and it really would guide our actions for our incoming year. Our President-elect has indicated that our main priority, and you would have gathered this from the theme, is diversity, equity, and inclusion. These words you will hear resonating through the air as we continue our Rotary journey. Expanding our reach by exemplifying and embracing DEI, strengthening communities and taking action to create lasting change. And DEI is necessary to Rotary success in providing meaningful leadership, networking, and service opportunities. I encourage you to go onto the Rotary website, log on, and there you will get all the information about DEI, how you can use DEI to increase your Rotary activity, increase your Rotary memberships, create that environment in your clubs that would make us lasting and keeping Rotary alive. President Jennifer has also asked us to form new clubs and new club models, form innovative and cause-based clubs. Already in our district, there are 2 clubs that are cause-based, and we are to focus on forming new clubs if we are good to grow Rotary. Raising Rotary's profile in the world is one of the aims of our President-elect. And she, in the very near future, will be embarking on what she calls a global impact tour, where she would meet world leaders to spread that Rotary brand, get it far and wide, and to tell the world leaders of our causes and how through our causes we think that we can have a positive influence on peace in the world. That's the ambition of our President-elect when she embarks on our global impact tour. And as a show person, she is well fitted to do that, to effect that her ambition. President Jennifer, of course, would also continue President Shaker's goal of empowering women and girls. We know the Rotary International goal is that we should achieve a target of having 30% of our membership composed of female members. The percentage right now is much lower than that, and so we are encouraged as we onboard Rotarians to please focus on women to increase our membership. As I move on to the district, Of course, our district will adopt all of the presidential initiatives as our goals this year. We will continue to strengthen and grow clubs. We will undertake more service projects focused on the 7 areas of focus. My friends, I would like us, my passion is the environment. I've mentioned this to the clubs that I've visited with District Governor Sonia, and I really would like clubs to undertake a project based on the environment. Environmental sustainability is so important, as we all recognize, and I would encourage every club to take on a project based on the environment. It doesn't have to be a massive project, but we can do simple things, and we can create an impact by doing these environmental projects. Of course, we all know it, that Polio Plus is Rotary's biggest service project. It has created the widest impact in the world, and we're on the fringe of eradicating polio. We need two more countries with polio, and it is Rotary's goal that we eradicate polio by the year 2026. However, to continued efforts, we need money, and we are asking clubs in our district to contribute at least $1,500 per club to the Polio Plus Fund. When we get to that target of a complete eradication of polio, we'll all be celebrating and enjoying the history that we created. The Rotary Foundation also needs your help. Without our foundation, we cannot succeed in getting grants for our projects, getting district grants and global grants. I urge you, again, Presidents, to please encourage your club members to contribute to the annual fund. Again, our goal per club for the Rotary year is $1,500. So our foundation is important, and we want to encourage you to contribute, continue contributing. I know you have been doing, but we urge you to keep on continuing as you go on. And of course, the district also, 2020, launched 2 initiatives. Peace Building Initiative and our Childhood Obesity Project. These initiatives are taking and creating big impact in our district. We just recently, on the 23rd of February, we had a big celebration on peace. And our COP initiative is gaining momentum throughout the district. We are engaging our governments in the respective territories, asking them to support the project, because you know that childhood obesity is a disease in our community, and we really need to stamp it out. We continue to ask clubs to select 1 or more days to have a Rotary Days of Service project. A Rotary Day of Service when we can invite all our club members, our partners, our communities to go out there and do significant projects to show that in Rotary we are one big family, one team with a united effort to create a lasting change. Presidents and secretaries, as I mentioned earlier, your district training committee is an experienced, diverse training committee. Your AGs are also well-trained, well-versed in Rotary. And of course, I will support you as best I can. We are here as a team, your team, to support and guide you as you go forward on your Rotary journey this year. Your team, over the next few weeks, will be training you on your administrative responsibilities, your goal setting, your budgeting, your grant, how to apply for grants, and your communication between one another, between clubs. So I urge you, presidents and secretaries, as you proceed to lead your club, that you create in your club the environment where your members would feel welcome, where everybody will get to know each other, where everybody will share friendship and fellowship, where everybody has equal opportunities to develop themselves, where they have equal opportunities to lend their skills to improving our communities by the projects we do. I urge you to support your clubs in all endeavors, and I urge you to make our district stronger than we met it. I know that the bar was raised very high by my predecessors, but let us not drop the bar. Let us keep it high and let us aim higher. Let us imagine the great things we can do in Rotary. Let us dream of big dreams and take action to make Rotary a better place for all. Our president-elect indicated that come July 1, we only have 525,600 minutes to accomplish our mission. So the show will start July 1, and we must take advantage of the time that's allocated to us so that at the end of the year, we can look back and reflect and say that we have done the course and we have completed our mission. And we have made Rotary a worldwide brand name. Thank you very much. Welcome to PETS 2022. And I ask you to sit back and enjoy the presentation that's coming up by a very dynamic presenter whom Liz would introduce. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DG Leslie. Thank you for that. A lot of information. At least there are 5 areas that presidents need to look at. It's DEI, it's the environment, it's Rotary Days that we're going to continue in our district. It's child obesity prevention, which is gaining momentum really fast, and peace. So that's 5 areas right away that you can add to your plans as you go about doing your plans and sitting with your AGs for your next Rotary year. All right, so I think I was anxiously getting to Michael, but it is his turn now. And I would like to ask PP Viaz if he can kindly introduce our guest speaker for this evening.
Yeah, I certainly can this. Thank you for that intro. I have to make a remark for something to add. I think the DGE also mentioned Barbados and a well-stacked bar, I think. Okay, moving on. District Governor-elect Leslie Ramdani and all distinguished Rotarians. It's my pleasure to present to you the first speaker on the first day of PETS 2022. Some people you have to introduce, but you have those rare persons you need to experience. Michael Angelo Caruso, a lifetime Rotarian who understands the power of the microphone, hears the noise of opportunities and translates it to action, who compassionately shares his knowledge, experience, and skills with clients and Rotarians around the globe. He's worked with Hallmark, Bank of America, Verizon Wireless, Rayovac, Citgo, Nissan, and the United States Navy. Michael also has a highly rated speaker coaching class titled Present Like a Pro, and is also the author of Work Hacks and Dear Michael Angelo, A Father's Life Letters to His Son. Michael enjoys exercise, movies, nonfiction books, and travel. Mac, the Zoom is yours.
Thank you very much. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Diaz?
Yes, correct.
Stay with me for a second. I want to employ you, if I may, to demonstrate a technique that all incoming presidents can use in their year. Will you stay with me for a second?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I know you weren't going anywhere anyway. Leave your mic on for just a second because we're going to have some fun. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, District Governor Leslie, and most of all, thank you, Liz Cox, for inviting me to speak at Pets Today. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you. It is such an interesting time to be alive, certainly an interesting time to be in an organization that reveres qualities like peace, especially with the recent developments of the news today. I am especially grateful to be with incoming presidents because it is such an interesting responsibility to be in charge of a club. And most of you will see it for what it is, which is an opportunity to raise the bar, as Leslie said earlier, and do some really amazing things in your community. I want to show you a little technique before I get started with my program proper. Vias will help me with it. And I call this technique the interview. And I used it quite a bit when I was becoming president of my club, but I used it even more when I became district governor. And I still use it on the speaking circuit when I'm doing good work for Rotary. I find it a very useful communication technique. Again, it's called the interview. I assume you all have pens because you're at Pets to get trained and get good information. Write it down, the interview. And the idea is to ask questions in a 3-to-1 or 5-to-1 ratio that would allow you to get to know the other person. Because you're coming into a position now in the club where you're going to be working more closely with people that maybe you don't know as well as you could. You're also going to be having visitors come to the club, like guest speakers and people from the community. And they all want to meet the president. And sometimes they walk into the room, they don't even know who the president is. So it will be your job, your responsibility to find time to walk up to that person and tap that person on the shoulder and say, thank you so much for coming. I want to introduce myself. My name is so-and-so. I'm president of the club. And I just want to thank you very much for coming. Tell me, what brings you here today? Here come the questions, right? 3-to-1 or 5-to-1 ratio. So the first question, what brings you here today? The second question could be, what do you do during the day? Not everyone works. So I learned not to ask the question, what do you do for work? But I ask, what do you do during the day? And then they often tell me what they do for work or what their vocation is or how they spend the bulk of their time. I might also ask, that's wonderful. What do you do in your free time? So if you ask people what about their family, sometimes that's not a good question. So I say, what do you like to do for fun? And everybody answers that question. And that's an interesting question because their eyebrows go up and their expression changes. And they say, well, for fun, I like to such and such. I like to such and such. And it's such a great little thing to get people to open up. So Vias, what do you do during the day?
I have work. I do work actually.
And what do you do for work, may I ask?
I have my own company in promotional items, and that's what I do.
Excellent. I'd like to know more about your company. Perhaps I can throw some business your way or send you some referrals. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, perfect. Sure.
That's 2 questions. Tell me, what do you do for fun, sir?
I work for fun also.
You work for fun. How lovely. That's fantastic. Do you have any pets at home?
Yeah, I do. I have 4 dogs.
4 dogs. Which one is your favorite?
What is the question again? Sorry.
Dog is your favorite?
Which dog? Well, I have a small one, which is about 3 months now. That one's my favorite.
The puppy probably needs a lot of attention too. 5 quick questions to Vias. I don't even belong to your district, and you learned some things about him just now because of the interview technique. It's a very valuable strategy. I encourage you to leave room for it, everybody. I'm going to paste some links into chat. You know how to access chat, yes? And these are free offerings for you. Most of you will be getting more speeches in the next year than you've given in the last 10 years if you're going to host 50 club meetings, 50 board of directors meetings, other meeting events in the community. And you should join this Present Like a Pro group on Facebook. I host it, and you'll get ongoing speaking tips about how to be engaging, run good meetings. It's all free. I would also suggest you join the Get the Word Out Now group on Facebook. I'm involved with that group as well, and we will show you how to grow your club, raise money for the best service organization in the world, and get attention for Rotary. Also free. And then finally, I have a free ebook on effective leadership. And if you click any of those links, do it now. They will open up in your browser, even if you can't see your browser because you're looking at Zoom. When you shut Zoom down, all of those windows will be open for you and you can take care of business after the session. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much, Vias. Thank you very much. Let's talk quickly about how to become a great president and serve this great organization and also enjoy it, because a lot of people think being president is difficult. Some of you are already stressing about the responsibility of being president. My experience is in a lot of clubs, there's not a lot of people standing in line to be president. That often you have to get tapped on the shoulder like I was, and the person taps you on the shoulder and says something like, "It's your turn." And the very first thing that the person says is, "Why me?" Right? And the second question they say is, "Why now? Out of all of the times to be president, why now?" And I would ask, why not? You've been in Rotary a few years now. Hopefully you understand the organization. You have a heart for service. And Rotary never asks you to do something that you're not able to do. So I'm quite confident that you have what it takes to be a good president. We may need to cover some of the highlights though, and that's my job this evening, is to give you some tips on how to do that. And we'll close when I'm finished with 4 things that your club should do right now. Again, a little list for you. And then finally, a Q&A segment where you'll have a chance to ask some questions and apply some of the things that we're learning already. I always get asked how I came into Rotary. There used to be a program called Group Study Exchange. Give me a thumbs up if you know what Group Study Exchange is. Do you remember? It's not official anymore. We now have a program called VTT. Thank you for the thumbs up, which is the vocational training teams. But back in the day, 4 of us non-Rotarians could go on a trip with a Rotarian. And I had the great pleasure of going to South Africa on this Group Study Exchange team. And I tell you that we met 6 months in advance of the trip. I learned more about Rotary in 6 months than I would have learned in 6 years in Rotary. And you couldn't be a Rotarian to go on Group Study Exchange, but I pledged to myself I would become a member of this great organization when I got home. I did, and I've been a Rotarian now for well over 20 years. It's without question the best decision I've ever made. And I hope you feel that way too. There's something about doing nice things for other people that just makes me feel complete as a person. And I have such rich friendships and such great a body of experience through this organization. I hope that you get to experience many of those for yourself. So I've come to experience Rotary in, you can look at the 7 areas of focus, and I heard Leslie break down the different areas that we're focusing on this year. You can focus on the annual theme. You can focus on our motto, which is service above self. I find it very useful to focus on what's known in some places as the 3-legged bar stool or the 3-legged stool in Rotary. And those 3 legs are membership, foundation or fundraising, and the third is public image or PI. And if you can get your head around and your arms around those 3 things in your year as president, and AGs, you are required, I think, to be an emissary and send messages out to the clubs through Leslie. And as the current zone public image chair for Zone 28 here in Canada and Michigan, I, of course, have been spending a lot of time on image and how to get attention for clubs in the community. So those are the 3 areas I like to focus on when I talk to presidents. Membership, which is how to retain members and attract new ones. Raising money, And sometimes the money goes to the foundation, the Rotary Foundation, TRF, or it could stay in the community. And then how to get attention for your various events. And that's done through public image. I see some people signing up for the freebies. Thank you very much, everybody. I promise you that you will be very pleasantly surprised with the content that you get. Let's talk about 4 things that your club should do right now in order to get traction in the new year. You're all coming in at a very fascinating time in the world, because this is the first time that I can recall we've ever exited a pandemic. And it's very possible that you will be the president, as you think about your legacy years on, you will be the president that has ushered your club out of COVID. And that is no small thing. We learned technology, and now we're getting back into physical again. It may not be an easy transition. The good news is we will always have technology waiting for us. And now we get back into the physical and meeting in person and having those handshakes and those wonderful hugs that we love so much when we get together with people. So here are the 4 things that I would suggest you do right now with your club to get back into the rhythm of things. Number 1, you need to shore up communication. In the military, they call it shore up comms, C-O-M-M-S. Now, it's an interesting question. I'll be facilitating at the Great Lakes Pets here in a couple of weeks, Liz, and that will be an in-person meeting with over 400 people. And I'm going to ask everybody in the room at my keynote, what is your best message, your best platform for communicating with your club members? I'd like everybody on this call right now to type into chat, what is your best, most efficient communication platform? Choose from the following. In person, like at meetings, email, group text, posting it on the website. It could be newsletter. It could be your Facebook group. I don't know how you best communicate with your team, but I'd like to know what the answer is. I'm seeing answers come into chat now. You can open up your chat window and keep it on the screen and pay attention to me at the same time. In person, WhatsApp, group text. Very good. Yeah, you guys use WhatsApp big time in your part of the world. We don't use it so much here so frequently. In person, WhatsApp, group text, there it is. Okay. So this means that when you use that modality, that you're getting a lot of feedback, you're getting a lot of attention. And when I say a lot of attention, that means 50 to 75% of the people that see your messaging are responding to it. Now, here's the tip. No matter how strong your favorite modality is, I want you to establish a second modality. So if your favorite modality is WhatsApp, I want you to pledge right now, you're going to develop a second modality. Maybe it's email. Maybe you're going to get more people to open your newsletter. Maybe you're going to create a more vibrant Facebook group. But I want you to have 2 platforms to communicate with your clubs. Please type into chat what the second modality will be. What are you going to go to work on to get people paying attention to you? And while you're doing that, let's check it out. Email, good. WhatsApp, good. In person, good. You're going to be even stronger in person. And by the way, being strong in person means you're going to have to up the attendance at club meetings. And the reason you want to have a second platform is because the best way to market to people is called overlapping messaging. Overlapping repetitive messaging takes place in multiple platforms. So it's the same message going out. And the people that don't get it in WhatsApp will see it in the Facebook group. The people that didn't attend the meeting will see it in the WhatsApp. And this is how you can increase attendance, get more participation, get more donors, get more people to endorse the events that you're doing so that you can attract more new people to the club. Overlapping messaging, okay? So the number 1 thing we're going to do is shore up comms. Second thing, we're going to get good goals. Get good goals, GGG. Now I say good because a good goal includes a number, 20%, $700, 80 people, right? It's a number, and numbers are not open to interpretation. A lot of presidents come into the position and they start giving speeches that say, okay, my number one goal is we're going to have more fun this year. And that sounds good on the surface, but I don't know how to measure fun. And here's something that's interesting. What's fun for one person isn't necessarily fun for another person. So everyone has a different version of fun. So when you use a number to quantify what you're trying to do, it becomes a very, very efficient way to measure success. Because I promise you, you're going to look at June 30th of 2023 and look back over your shoulder and ask, what did I get done? What did I improve? What will my legacy be as president or AG or even Leslie, district governor? So number one, shore up comms. Number two, get good goals. Good goals include numbers. Number three, I want you to start thinking about providing something they call in Evanston, Rotary headquarters, outward facing programming. The number three thing to write down, outward facing programming. I belong to the Troy Rotary Club in Michigan, and for a while, our program chair, the person who brought in speakers, was a history fan. And he loved history, he was very passionate about it. And so what kind of speakers do you think we started to see more of in the club? More people talking about history. And those people that came to speak about history tended to be older, white males, because he was tapping the Speakers Bureau at the local university. So think about the ripple effect or the chain reaction of doing this. We started to see a lot of history programs, and I love history myself, but it was more of a homogeneous offering. We started to get more of the same thing all the time, from the same type of speaker all the time. Who do you think came to our club at that period of time? Older, white guys who liked history, because that's who we were marketing to, right? A few months after that program chair left the position, we said, we need more women in this club. We want more diversity. And we just think it'll be more fun to have different types of faces showing up. So we decided to switch the programming, and we instituted a Troy Business Person of the Year Award. The Troy Female Business Person of the Year Award. And we got speakers to come to those events. What kind of speakers do you think we got? Women. What kind of people do you think started coming to those events? More females. And we got an increase in female membership as well. We signed up 4, there's the number, 4 women in the space of 2 months to a club that badly needed to see some fresh faces in the club. So this is not complicated, but you have to kind of stand at the top of the hill when you're president and kind of oversee what's happening. Now, I want to tell you something about being president, and it was true about being district governor as well, Leslie. You can't make everybody happy. You're going to hear from people who are not happy with the initiatives that you are trying to institute. And I heard a fantastic line from a mayor one time. I want to share it with you tonight, because he was doing a state of the city address. Do you have those where you come from? State of the city? And the mayor or the local politician says, here's where we're at, right? Well, he's doing his thing, and then it's a Q&A, and somebody in the audience, somebody from the upset, stood up and said, I don't like that you're doing this. I don't like that you're doing this. And the mayor stood up when it was his turn, and to his credit, he didn't get emotional. And I imagine it's not the first time he answered a question this way, but I want you to listen carefully to what he said. You might want to write it down. It's a fantastic way to explain your position as leader of the club. He said, thank you for your opinion, sir. I'm sorry you're unhappy. I want you to know that my job as mayor is not to make everyone happy. My job is to make decisions that are in the best long-term interest of the city. And he got a round of applause from the audience. The unhappy person sat right down. And it was an interesting way to say, I'm doing my best. And I understand that there are some people that are not going to be happy with some of these things, but we're going to try them to see if we can raise the bar on the areas of interest that we've discussed. So to provide outward-facing program makes the club more appealing in ways that it hasn't been appealing before, and it's super important. Just to review, we're going to shore up communications. We're going to get good goals. Good goals include numbers. We're going to practice outward-facing programming to attract new people into the club. And finally, we're going to focus on leadership succession. This means that we have understudies. In Hollywood, they call them stunt men or stunt women. Somebody who's waiting in the wings to learn these positions. Who's going to be president next year? Who's going to be an assistant governor next year? Who's learning public image? Who's learning how the foundation works? Now, the challenge is in the smaller clubs because the smaller clubs don't have as much of a team. But we're going to try to get you more members this year. So we're going to get more people into the club and we're going to get them interested in an area of passion in Rotary so that we have leadership succession, so that when the next person's time to be president, they already know what's happening. You don't have to tap them on the shoulder and you don't have to convince them it's in their best interest to be leader of their club. This is what we want for you this year. And I know you can do it. We're going to open up for Q&A in just a second. I see lots of people, and I know somebody's going to help me with Q&A, I think. We see lots of people signing up for the freebies so that you and I are connected afterward. I am your coach. Now and forever, man. I know you've got good help in the district, but I am available to you. Rotary without boundaries, right? I will help you out. I'm pasting the links in again if you missed them the first time. Thank you for all the participation in chat. Liz or somebody.
Yes, yes, okay. We've got you covered. We got you covered, Michael. Thank you so much for that information. I think you've touched a bit on some key areas that I think that is in fact needed in our district. One particularly that really, I can relate to is succession planning, because I believe that there are clubs where it's uncertain who's going to take over. And sometimes there are times when somebody make a commitment and come close to the time, they step away. So you need to have some kind of succession planning. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I also like the concept of the overlapping messaging, because we have clubs where it's, we have great diversity, where we have older members and we have young members and we have persons who are tuned into WhatsApp chat, and others who don't do WhatsApp chat, they do emails, or they just want you to pick up that phone and give them a call. I mean, I think that's always the best option as well. You know what it is for the president to call you. If the president calls you, you'll do anything. And I think that's something that you should all take away. If the president really wants something done, pick up the phone and give that call in persons. But I don't think people realize or recognize how important a club views the president, and the fact that if a president asks something, they will in fact step out. They won't want to disappoint the president after all. All right, so at this point, I'd like to hand over to PP Leah, who will take us through the Q&A. Leah?
Thanks, Liz. Okay, everyone. Don't all put your questions in at once. While we are waiting for you to send in your questions, and I know you must be bursting with questions, I'll take the opportunity and use my privilege as moderator to put in my questions first. Michael, I actually have two of them. The first relates to what you said about overlapping repetitive messaging. You asked a question about which one was your most effective route of communicating. My club usually communicates three ways: email, in person, and WhatsApp. But you said, how can you tell which one is your most effective? Is based on the one where 50 to 75% of people respond.
Yes.
When you're doing all those three things and you're still not getting the response rate, does that mean that your communication isn't effective, even though they are receiving it, but just not responding? That's my first question.
Well, it depends, I think, Leah, on what you need from them. Like, for example, if you need people to register for an event, you've got to have something called CTR, which is click-through rate. They've got to click that link. Nothing, that's what you want. You don't want them to say, I'm busy that night, I can't come. You don't want them to say, I'll register later. You don't want them to say, I don't have time for this now. You want them to click that link and register. And that's what you're measuring, CTR. So my point was that when you send it in email and you're not getting the CTR that you want, maybe send it in WhatsApp and see if you can get some people that you didn't get in email, you see? We've gone so far because some of the people in our club are older, they don't understand online registration. Almost everybody's there now where they can finally figure out how to enter a credit card or whatever. But we still sign people up at the meeting because we'll say, aren't you coming to the event? Oh, I just haven't registered yet. Well, come on over here and let me register you right now. Do you have your credit card with you? And they laugh and we laugh and it's super convenient. And that's how we get them to respond. When I said 50 to 70%, Leah, I was kind of making up a number. I don't know what the success rate is in your various clubs, but we want a lot of people to reply when you message. I'll give you one other quick example. We have a newsletter in our zone that I don't think is read very well. It's not opened and it's not read. And I'm trying to find what's called the open rate because I don't think anybody's even opening the newsletter. And once you know the open rate, then you can measure, right? You can try to improve on it. But until then, you don't know. I hope that helps.
Yes, it did extremely. Thank you so much, Michael. My second question is in relation to providing outward-facing programming. You spoke extensively about the type of speaker you were getting at your club. So does the outward-facing programming only speak to your club meeting program, or does it encapsulate your projects, the types of projects you're doing, or the types of events you're hosting, whether fundraising, etc.?
I think it's both actually, because you think about things like a service event where you need a bunch of people to show up to do something. If you had a service event that nobody wanted to participate in, it would be a poor turnout and therefore not a success. So we try to get buy-in from the club before we commit to the service event. Think about a social event where you're trying to raise money and maybe recruit people to the club. You could do a wine tasting. You could go to a bowling alley. You could have a picnic, the 5 or 6 things. And you want to identify which one is likely to have the most people. And it's the same thing. You're trying to get buy-in from people. I often do a poll on Facebook to find out. I'll put up, because in Facebook, you click on that box that offers the options. I don't know why more people don't do this, because people will tell you what they want. And I say, I'm thinking about doing a little gathering, a little event. Which one seems the best to you? Picnic, bowling, all 4 of them, 5 of them. And I'm often surprised by the answer. And it's totally obvious in the thing, right? And I would have guessed differently. A president who wants to go bowling really badly will make it bowling, and then nobody comes. And they scratch their head and say, nobody likes me. They just don't like bowling.
Okay, thank you for that, Michael. Do we have any more questions? I'm not seeing anything in the chat box. Just a reminder, put your questions in the chat box in all caps so it's easy for us to identify.
I'm also going to type in my email address, everybody, so that you know how to find me if you'd like. And I'm available to you after the session, of course, and so on. I'll also see you in those groups that you signed up for. This is Michael Caruso 6380 at gmail.com. And 6380 is the name of my district, which is Southeastern Michigan, Detroit, and part of Ontario, Canada. So we're an international district. I know some of you have those as well. You are an international district as well, yes?
We're in the Caribbean, yes.
Yes. So
we do have one question, Michael. Any tips to enhance email communication?
Yes. You've got to have better subject lines. The subject line is what gets the email opened. It's when people prioritize, what am I going to open next? So an example, the subject line Friday doesn't convey enough, right? What do you mean? This Friday, last Friday, Good Friday?
Next Friday.
What about Friday, right? But if you said fun Friday or fun on Friday, now everybody sees, oh, this is related to fun. I like fun. I'm going to click it, you see? And then they come inside to see what you have to offer. I would also say this, in email and on web registration pages, one place for people to click. Stop offering 10 or 12 different places for people to click. People who have too many choices decide nothing. So one click, and you might put the link in twice, put it in at the top of the email, then put it down at the bottom again. Same link twice. But these are techniques and tips to get email to work better for you.
Great, thanks so much, Michael. Last call for questions. Any questions? It seems as though, Michael, you've outdone yourself yet again, and you've been so clear and concise that everyone has received your message and has taken it on and just waiting to go and put it into action.
I sense the very same thing, Leah.
Okay, Liz, that's all from me, so I turn it back over to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, PP Leah. Yes, Michael, this is, I listen to your videos a lot. And those of you who sign on to Michael, he sends something every Friday. Not that I'm advertising for Michael, but you really get some useful tips, some very concise, very short, but very useful tips that will help you certainly with delivery in terms of presentation skills and everything else to do with communication. I think he does an awesome job with that. One tip that I would like to share in terms of email, if I want someone to read my email, and I tried it several times and it worked, if I want someone to read my email right away, and if it's something that is urgent, I put time sensitive and then I put the message and I get a response.
Yes,
I get a response. I get a response. Sure.
We have a last question from Namdeo. Since we didn't have that many questions, I just thought we could put it in. Sure. You mentioned we are presidents leading out of COVID. What are possible programs? That's a question for you, Michael.
I think this is the time to have experiential programs. We've had enough talking heads, like you're getting from me tonight. So we need programs that have some sort of sensory involvement, food, local dancers from the school, music, live music, something that gets people out of their chairs and moving a little bit, maybe a service project at lunch, something where people can actually be involved again. I think this is the ticket moving forward. I can tell you I will be at the Houston convention in Texas. Anybody able to go to that? I don't know how travel is for you guys right now. I hope it clears up, but I will be there. Good. I see some thumbs. And that's a fantastic place to learn. And I know they're going to have online availability for that as well. The trick is to become a lifelong learner now and to glean these little tips. A lot of people saying in the comment, little tips. It's very simple, but very effective. This is what we want to do moving forward, everybody. Listen, I wish all of you the very best in your leadership year. Thank you for serving the greatest service organization in the world. I'll stay on for a couple of minutes here, but I've got an extremely busy night tonight. And I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. Liz, you're delightful and a gift to your district. Thank you so much for all you do. I love all of you. Thanks for all you do. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, just a minute, just hold a minute. I'll hand over to our District Governor-elect, Leslie, who is going to give the vote of thanks and close this part of the session.
Sure.
So just
well, folks, you heard it from the man himself, present like a pro. Michael, I want to thank you very much. Like Liz, I see you popping up on my phone message every Friday. There's something happening every Friday, so I am linked into you. And mostly, I sometimes I do read what is being presented. So tremendous information there. And I want to thank you so very much for joining us this evening, taking time from a busy schedule to join us and to give us those 4 tips, very important tips. We really appreciate it. I think it'll make a lot of sense to us as leaders in our own right. And we can get a lot of good takeaways from her presentation. So really, we appreciate it. And thank you very, very much on behalf of the district for speaking to us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, DG Leslie. And I just got a note from our district secretary-elect. For those persons whose name is different from the name you registered in, please let us have your name and not necessarily the name of the device you're using, so that because we are keeping a register of attendees, we want to be able to share with your assistant governors who attended our programs and perhaps some of the things that you need to develop further in your club as you roll out your new Rotary year. So please place your name that you registered with on our district conference site in the participants launch that we have here. Okay, so let's move along. And Michael, you're free to stay on with us and just observe and perhaps share some tips another time of what you've observed as well. Okay, now we will at this point have a poll, and I've asked AB to organize that poll. And it is really 2 questions I really want you to reflect on. I'll give you 3 minutes to answer each question. The first question is, what do you want out of this experience? And the second question is, what area are you most passionate about in Rotary? And yes, we have identified 5 areas that you can select from. So please go ahead and participate in this poll, because we're anxious to see and to hear from you in terms of what you hope to garner out of this experience serving as president of your club. A very important question, and certainly I'm looking forward to see your responses. The poll is going to run for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll let AB know when to end the poll, and then we'll look at the results of the poll, and then we can discuss it. Or you do want to be a better leader, or you want to do an impactful community project. I mean, I always encourage every president, even though you may have annual projects that you roll out, is to have some kind of project that is significant to your year. It is not like you're going to go just doing a new project, but certainly you've heard from our district governor-elect, and you've heard 5 areas in which he would like you to focus on. So perhaps pick one of those areas as your own project that you want to push and drive in your club. Fellowship activities, this is something I think everybody's looking forward to. And I could mention that at district conference, it will not be you sitting down in a classroom like we used to do many years ago. It is a conference where I really want to push, and the district governor-elect and our training team would like to push, where you have a lot more interaction, a lot more networking, getting to know each other, renewing old friends, making new friends. And so it will be a short session. And, you know, our past district governor, Lyle, has promised to share with you some tips on budgeting. I know I'm certainly looking to get one of our Rotary International speakers here in Barbados as well, to share with us some aspects of the foundation. I know that a lot of you ask questions about the foundation and still wondering how can you apply for a grant and some of the things and the possibility that exists with the foundation. And then we're going to end with a rum tasting on the beach. I'm going to ask each one of you to bring a bottle of rum from your own country. So we're going to end with a bang in the afternoon as a beach bash rum tasting event. All right, AB, you can end the poll and just show the results, please. Okay, what do you want out of this experience? Emerge a better leader. We have 24%. Persons to complete an impactful project. We have, okay, I see we have, AB, can you roll it down a bit? Oh no, that's it, that's it. So the highest amount is to engage your members. And I think that is key. At least 40% of you believe that your members need a great engagement. And I think COVID has really pushed us apart. And we are seeing almost the end of COVID, hopefully, fingers crossed, because the WHO is still saying there are other variants emerging. But yes, I could understand that you will want to have more engagement with your members, and you've heard some tips this evening, and I'm sure your assistant governor will also be sharing some tips with you on engaging your members. Increased membership, a lot of people are not thinking about that, so I'm not sure why, but I guess you really want to get your what you have more excited rather than to bring persons in. Quality is always better than quantity. All right, you can stop share, AB, and let's go on to the second question. Thank you for participating. All right, so what area are you most passionate about in Rotary? We have, oh, lots of persons are, the majority is in fact community service projects. And that is an area, I think all of us, when we join Rotary and we stand at the lectern, when we were inducted, you know, we talk about wanting to help our communities. And there are times when, you know, projects are up and we don't get the hands on deck, all the hands on deck. All right, so we need to, if you say you're going to go or be part of a project, you know, you're passionate about something, let's convert that into a project. And I'm sure lots of you have passions as well. All right, so it is community service project, which is one that stands out the most. 54% of you are looking to supposedly do an impactful community project. You've just heard from the district governor-elect where there are 5 areas that you can focus on. You can pick one of those or you can do all of them. All right, thank you. Thank you for participating. All right, so there are, you know, we are going to now into breakout rooms. And what we are going to do in the breakout rooms is all of you have received the President's Toolkit. The committee felt that we needed to put some little bits of tips together. It's just really tips because there's a lot of stuff on Rotary International. And I am really looking to see all of you go into the Rotary Learning Center to access those resources, because there are a lot of resources in there that can make your life a lot easier. However, in the President's Toolkit, there are 2 documents that I want us to look at tonight. The first document is the Learning Support Contract. Now, this Learning Support Contract is really meant to perhaps get a feel of the impact of our PETS session, really, because we really want you to indicate in that, you know, what did you expect out of it? I presume by now, because the notification that went to you indicated that you should complete parts 1 and 2 by now. That is indicate what you expect out of this session, this PET session. And, you know, as you move along towards the end of the program, we want you to indicate what are some of the things you actually learned in the session. And another part where we want you to indicate what you're going to do differently when you actually come 1st of July and you start to do some of the things that you want to do in your club. And also to indicate what are the resources that you would need to do that. You definitely would need hands on deck. So those are some of the areas that I want you to look at. You don't have to look at that in detail tonight, but think about those as we conclude our sessions on April the 7th or March the 26th for some of you, so that you can share with your assistant governor. Because once that is completed, you will share it with your assistant governor. Your assistant governor will check in with you along the Rotary year when they visit, to see how you're going in terms of what you would have listed there. All right, the second document, which is the most important document I'd like you to look at tonight, it is in fact the annual planning guide. For those of you who would have served as president, must have been about 6-7 years ago, would know that this was a document that had to be completed before the 1st of July and handed to your assistant governor. We chose to bring back this document in a condensed format. It is not as lengthy as it was back then. And it was kind of pushed aside because Club Central is supposed to capture all of what you're doing and all of that. But we felt that, I think that it's a good tool. It's a good tool to open a conversation between yourself and your assistant governor. It is a good starting point, but it's also a good point where you can use it as a follow-up document. So that is what I would like you to discuss as you go into the breakout rooms. We have mixed you up. That is, persons who are French are also mixed with the English persons. We've attempted to have at least a French-speaking person in each group. It may not be possible, but please let us try to mix and mingle and discuss. And we do have our session leaders that are assigned to each group. We have selected 10 groups, and each group has a session leader. That leader will drive the discussion, but we would like you to also select someone who will come back in the general forum and to share with us some of the things you discussed in your group. Now, we may not get in all 10 groups, but I will ask you to volunteer at first. If not, I'll have to pick on you. All right, so Lisa, could we go into our Zoom rooms, please? Or if, for those of you who've been in a room and had a discussion, I see Delbert is smiling. Delbert, were you able to discuss anything in your room?
Well, I don't know. I've been returned to the main session.
Just about getting into it. Good night.
Yeah,
everyone.
no, yeah, because it is a slow process. I'm not certain what happened in terms of, I don't know if it's because of the numbers, that it was so slow to place persons into rooms. So PGD David suggested that we come back into the main room and perhaps have a short discussion, because we are in fact going out of time. We're going to make up for this at some point in time. But it is, so for those persons, the team leaders who can unmute themselves, could you share some of what was discussed in your room? Delbert, could I start with you?
We actually didn't get into the real into any meaningful discussion by the time a sensible number of us got there. So we never really kicked it off. But if I may just add the two documents that you spoke about initially,
Yeah.
asked to discuss, I think they're very useful documents. I've gone through them, and as incoming EG for Dominica, it's a document that definitely I will be looking to use. Both documents actually, from coming off of PETS and into planning 2022, 2023. Definitely two documents that I think we can use, and it will add a lot of value, particularly like our featured speaker said, in one of the areas for leadership succession. I think that's one of the things that we miss in the Rotary very often. And I think with this type of framework going forward and helping to plan the year, having an outlook, especially coming off of, being zoomed out and like feature speaker said, so many talking heads, having such a structured document going forward is going to add some serious value to the impact that clubs are able to have if we're disciplined enough to use it.
All right, thank you. Any other team leader wants to add their voice, the assistant governors or any one of the presidents who might have had a chance to review the document before? Armand, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think we should get some comments from the president-elect. So let us hear.
Yeah.
Give us some comments, because you're in the hot seat come July, yeah? So let us give us some feedback. Let us know what you're looking for, what help you need, what you're planning going ahead, please.
Being my second time as a president-elect, having been 2 years ago, it's nice to see documents that are going to be of use to us, that are going to help us to organize ourselves and our clubs with a view to where we want to go, how we're going to get there. So yeah, as previously said, that by Delbert, the documents are going to be very, very useful.
All right, thank you. Lisa, can you unmute you?
Great to be here. What I really enjoyed the chat this evening from Michael. What I really want to learn from this experience and so on is how to really engage my club members in my year, and how to rebuild the interest in the club and really get the club really going and operating effectively. That's what I really want to do for my year and so on for 2022-23. But so far, I'm really enjoying this session.
All right, Hugh, have you done a health check in your club, or has the club done a health check recently? Because that's where you really should start, It's a document that you can actually get from the RI website, and you download it and you just do, it's kind of a little survey asking the club members about different things about the club, and you can actually start here.
Yeah, but we recently did an online check and so on. So we're looking at new things in the club and so on. The club is starting to rebuild, but I want to do a lot more.
Okay, yeah, I think that, you know, Caribbean people love to meet in person, and I think it is some kind of a disengagement. I mean, there are others who are comfortable with Zoom and is happy with Zoom, and they're happy to not have to get out of their home. But the majority of the Caribbean people want to get back together and be in person and experience that thing together.
Our club loves fellowship, so that's our biggest downfall for this COVID for the past 2 years.
All right. So
Happy to say that here in Grenada East, we meet at least twice a month physically.
Okay. So we've just started hybrid meeting.
Okay. Some of the comments that we have here. Oh, Cindy says a great document. Looking forward to the support from the AG and the district team. Hugh, you were saying something, Hugh? The hybrid meeting?
Yeah, well, we were just meeting virtually for the past 2 years, but from last week we started hybrid meetings, and that has gone pretty good so far.
Okay. My one problem with the hybrid meeting is that you know, if you're having a dinner meeting or a lunch meeting, all the knife and forks go the song that persons are eating and the others are listening on the other end. So we just have to be mindful of that. Keon said he planned to use the tool to help me with my presidency, especially in closing gaps in the club. Chris says having to deal with not personal meeting in the club built on fellowship is really difficult. So we're going to change that because that's coming on. Leighton has asked me to announce that we are opening a President's Lounge. Some of you may not be aware of it, but last year or the year before, we had it was last year. Yes, it was last year.
Last year, yeah.
We had we had a President's Lounge where we invited the sitting presidents to be part of the lounge. It's really just a relaxed area on Zoom, by the way, even though we charge each other to buy drinks. And it is going to be March 11th. And starts at 7 o'clock. So we're going to invite all the president-elects and the secretary-elects to be part of that exercise as well. It is a fun experience because you get to learn and know so much about persons, about projects that they're doing, about things that are happening. We had some interesting discussions over the last year. So I think a lot of people will be happy to know that it's back. It's Friday afternoon. Let's hope that with the opening of all the bars, because COVID is now coming to a close, that we will have a full house. But it is a way to network and meet your colleagues throughout the district. And you know, COVID has really given us the opportunity to see each other and get to know each other more. I have met persons that perhaps I've seen in past at conference, but have never really spoken to, and now we're really good friends. So it has worked its positiveness as well, in as much as we don't like to meet in person. I think it has allowed the district members to come together. So the DG is looking forward to it. Great tool to assist in structured planning, achieving my club's goal. But don't forget, you should also remember that Club Central is very important as well. That's where the district reads what is happening to you. That is where you can set your goals and not just complete that at the end of the year, but you set your goals, and so you measure how you're moving along. And that, I think, is also very important.
You have a hand up.
Somebody has a hand up. Okay.
Adrian Saunders.
Adrian. Lisa, could you unmute Adrian, please?
Adrian, you can unmute yourself.
Hi. Evening, everyone. I'm not sure exactly what comments you were looking forward to. Comments on what? Could you just reiterate for me?
You mean the planning guide, the annual planning guide? I really just wanted for president-elects and secretary-elects to start that conversation with their AG, use that as a tool to open the conversation with their AG, because The thing is, in many years, for many years, AGs generally sometimes are appointed or know they're appointed on the 1st of July. Last year, I think DGE Leslie wanted to make sure that all appointments are done by November. So you know that who is the incoming AG. So really, in fact, the AG should start meeting with you from the 1st of February, meeting with your clubs, meeting with you to plan, to help you and to guide you through the process. So that is really just a conversation starter. It is something that can be used as a follow-up as the AG visits to find out you made a commitment, okay, it didn't happen, why it didn't happen, what are some of the things you need to help you to make that happen as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's definitely a plus because anything you need to have a structure, a plan, and it's a good starting point for clubs. That's what I see. It directs the thinking and the conversation and the action along certain lines, and that's needed.
all right, so thank you. So Joelle is saying it's very important to have a plan for the year. This will allow you to anticipate and distribute a role in the club for each member. And that helps with engagement as well. Okay, so on that note, I think we had a little bumpy start, but I hope that come Saturday that we could move along a lot more smoothly. And I'd just like to ask, well, first of all, thank you all for participating in as much as you can, the best way possible. And to see you on Saturday, but I'd like to ask, there's Lawford, somebody has their hands up.
Liz, before you wrap up, we have 3 hands.
And top, yeah, correct, yes, yeah, sure. You see, I'm not really seeing all of them, yeah.
Daniel was first, then Juan, and then Lawford, yes.
Yes.
All right. Good night, everyone. I'm Daniel Campbell. You hear me, right?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay, President-elect of the Rotary Club of St. Benson. I just want to say thank you for a great presentation tonight. I think the planning guide, it's an awesome tool in conjunction with the tools on the Rotary Central. It helps you to focus, and sometimes you need to focus and be able to use some objective tools to really analyze your club and get to know where you are and plan for the future. And in St. Vincent, we had a very rough year with the pandemic and the volcano. I just like to thank again all Rotarians who had an outpouring of support and continue to support in those relief efforts. And that gave me renewed confidence in humanity and in Rotary. And I think this tool will help us focus even more after so much instability in the last 2 years.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. Juan?
Thank you, Liz. Good evening, fellow Rotarians. It's so good to see all of you again and to meet some of you for the first time. Really looking forward to meeting you all in Barbados. I would just like to say that Michael's presentation was really very impactful. The amount of content he fitted in such a short pace of time, I found it to be very relevant and a lot of actionable items which I could take. And as regards to the guide, I'm so happy that the guide has been shared because I wouldn't repeat the sentiments of those who spoke before me, but I can say that in my club, I've heard the past president spoke about this guide with great reverence and awe, and I'd never seen it. Now, having gone through PETS last year, done the Rotary International training, is a lot of information, but it's scattered. So the one thing I love about this guide, which the district has shared this year, it pulls all that information together into one document. So literally I can break out sections of this for the areas of focus, begin engaging the incoming board, and really begin planning our year. So I think just with this guide, I mean, it's already added so much value to me. I'm really excited to see what the rest of PETS really has in store this year. So thank you so much to the team. It's off to a great start, and I'm really looking forward to this journey.
Thank you, Juan. Lawford? You're hearing you now.
Yeah, I said I had a lot of trouble logging onto the site, which is probably a function of my lack of expertise with computers. You can see from my face that none of that generation. But Liz, I wanted to compliment you and as the convener of this session. It's so good to see a lady doing such a great job. My club is the Rotary Club of Port of Spain, which is the oldest club in Trinidad. And I I don't say this with any pride, but we have no women in our club, except for one lady whose premises we rent to have our meetings. And she attends the meeting. We can't put her out. We have to accept her. So she's there every week. And it's a blessing when she comes. So my challenge this year is to see if I can get our members to change their stupid rules and see whether we can get some ladies into the club, because I'm sure they'll add a lot of value. So thanks again for a good session.
All right. One of the tips that Michael shared tonight is that if you want to attract persons of a different classification, is to invite speakers of that classification. So perhaps you can invite some female speakers. You may attract some more persons who might be interested in joining your club. All right. So
we've done that before, but I plan to do some more.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lawford. Giselle Scarrett.
Good evening from Montserrat. I'm Genzo Skerritt, and definitely very glad to be part of this session this evening. I wanted to commend the PETS team for putting together a very interesting presentation for the president-elects and the secretaries-elect this evening. And
just 1 minute, Giselle. Maybe can you put on the poll while we're concluding?
Yes,
Giselle, go ahead.
Disappeared there, Liz. I'm asking Sean to work on it.
Okay, all right. Giselle, continue, please.
Yeah. And of course, it was the presenter this evening. He was definitely versed with the content. I will definitely take away those 4 points that he raised. And then to the first president from St. Vincent, who spoke about the challenging in the year. All of us throughout the region have had challenging years. And being in Montserrat and seeing you having the volcano, it was heart-wrenching for us. Just wanted to let all the different presidents across the region know that Rotary is still a big family. When we were going through our situation, remember the support we got several years ago, and when St. Vincent put up had the situation, we had to also make sure we were there to support them. So it's great being around the Rotary family again this evening, and I look forward to the rest of the collaborations.
All right. Thank you, Giselle.
The poll is up now.
Yes, yeah. Could you please?
It's up now.
Yes, it is.
Right.
So please go ahead and answer just 10 questions that we wanted to hear from you. And a poll really is to get an idea of how you felt with this session and how we can do better the next time and in the next year as well. DGE, you can proceed to conclude while the poll is being run.
Yeah. Thank you, Liz. I just want to make one little comment on that planning guide, which it seems that most president-elects have welcomely accepted. I think it's a good reference tool, and I want to encourage you as you go through your planning guide, log on to My Rotary and use that as your resource to fill it out and get ideas to fill out that planning guide. I think that's one good way, one good use of that planning guide. It's, as it says, it's a guide, and you get all your reference material from My Rotary. So I urge presidents, as you prepare for your year in service, to please use that. It will serve us in good stead. And that gives your assistant governor the kind of information that we want about your club. So that when the DG that is provided to me, so that I can get to develop my knowledge on every single club in the district. So please, President, take it seriously and work on that planning guide and get it filled out. I want to say it's a pity that the breakout rooms couldn't work properly, but so that we could have got smaller groups and hearing from everyone as we expect it to, what that can be fixed. So I want to thank everyone for participating. We had quite a good attendance, I would say. We always expect more, of course, because with 74 presidents and secretaries in our district, so we expected our numbers to reach higher. But thank you for the effort. I know some persons had difficulties in registering and logging in and so on, but as we go forward, things will be resolved. The opening session was very interesting with Michael Caruso, very dynamic presenter, and I think we got a lot of takeaways from it. Our discussions, as I said, didn't materialize later on. But let us look forward to Saturday when we continue our training sessions. As I said, you have a very dynamic training team. You have some brilliant assistant governors who are all committed to making sure that our as I said before, that we raise the bar in our district. Okay, so team presidents and secretaries, remember, please build that level of comfort in your club so that everybody enjoys equality and everybody is included as we move forward. It's important for the success of our clubs, for the success of Rotary in our district, to build that level, that relationship level with our members, so that we are all one big family. Okay. And we can imagine that we are all a big one family indeed. So thank you all very much. Thank you to the training committee. And thank you all for participating. Saturday start at 9 o'clock.
Yes, our program start at 9 o'clock. You know, we will have breakout rooms on Saturday. And we trust that we will not get into the difficulty we had this evening. We will try to get that sorted out. So we make sure that we got it, because it's very important, especially in such large groups, that we have, that you can actually meet together. Okay, guys, good night. So I see you guys on Saturday at 9 promptly. We're going to start promptly at 9 on Saturday. And let's just make pets the best pets ever. Like, you're going to be the best president-elects ever.